Where's my... Hello everyone! Welcome to this week's episode of the Campfire. This is a pretty chill panel talk show thing that we have where we gather some Dota people or other people, hint hint, into a group and just have some conversation, have some fun. And with me today, I'm RoyalAmes, and with me today I have Malice, who's going to introduce our guest this week.
All right, everybody. I'm looking at the stream. I'm trying to realize where everybody is, but who cares? Screw it. We've got Tarmanydyn, Nahaz, and PimpmuckL, some of the most amazing people in the Dota community, and we get to talk to them, pick their brains, and drink some alcohol because I'm drinking wine. Hello.
And
Man,
I
I
had
changed.
some tags fixed. I'm
You've
sorry,
changed,
no one
you've
saw
changed.
that.
Oh my God. She had it
Everything
mixed
is
up.
okay.
Monster, look at that. Oh my god.
You used to be about the name.
All good, homies. That
All
was
is
my bad,
good.
actually. Because my cam is failing.
No one saw that.
This is great. All right. Anyway, so beginning the questions, we got a lot. We got a lot to talk about. But the first thing I want to say is completely off the cuff. How's everybody doing today? Like, what'd you do today? How was it?
Alan?
Good.
Worked, taught class.
You taught
It's
class.
the life, man. Yeah.
Yep.
Taught my graduate finance class. It's pretty fun. Good group.
I'm so sorry.
right.
Like, I'll be honest with you. When I was going through college, economics was like my least favorite subject. I am so-
Economics is really the way they teach it makes no sense until you get to at least like second year.
I am
so don't
so
worry about
glad
it.
somebody else feels this way.
The way they teach principles at most places is like kind of silly. So, most
this-
people take like one or two econ classes and they say to me that stuff made no sense, and I'm like, yeah, I mean most of the time your first econ class makes absolutely no sense.
I feel like you have to fail your first one in order to succeed in your second one.
Well, it's the second one they actually like trot out calculus, and you're like, oh wait, there's math involved. I got that. The first
sure
one, it's
everyone wants to
like
hear that, guys.
arrows and plots, and this goes up and that goes down. I don't know. I still don't understand that crap. I can do math.
I can do math,
Yes.
and that's about it.
I'm not a social scientist guy.
Oh. Tarmanydyn, what did you do today, man? When you woke up, how did you feel? Did you go, yeah, today? Or did you go,
That's how I am every day, man. That's why I
Damn.
work in esports.
Oh my.
Wouldn't have it any
wow.
other
That's
way,
Shannon.
honestly.
Oh yeah, you work at one of the best apps. I love it because it always notifies me when people are losing. It's great. It's called
That's one of our key features.
Your team
key
is losing.
features. It's not a bug, it's a feature. You don't
Yes.
know it.
Exactly.
So if you don't know, Tarmanydyn is an amazing guy who works at the Score Esports as their editor for Dota.
News editor, actually. Just like one of the very many hamsters that we have spinning the wheels and getting the news rolling, I guess. But it's funny that you mentioned that. I'm actually kind of switching a bit off of Dota onto CS:GO, actually. So
No, no,
Oh.
stay. We need you.
Just-
Stay.
just
no.
Hello.
I'm gonna email your boss. Like, no, you're not allowed.
Damn.
Wow.
I
Well,
wish I could. But yeah, so
Did you guys see that?
Score Esports. Are you in Toronto, Canada? Is that where you're at?
yeah, it's where our
Nice.
office is. I want to say 95% of our writers and staff are in Toronto. So yeah,
All right.
good
Nice.
New York City junior, I guess. I don't know. At least we
Good
like to
stuff.
think so.
All right, and so PimpmuckL, Tiffany, if you want to ask PimpmuckL some questions.
oh well, we have a very, or are we still doing the how are yous?
I mean, because it's like
Oh,
before
my.
we started the
You-
show.
does this guy? You know how this guy is. Look at him. Look at
What?
him.
Are you
I mean,
really?
look-
Wait,
Yes.
wait, wait, no. I do have a very important question. Have you eaten?
No.
Go get food, bro.
Come on.
It's okay. It's okay. Okay. No, I had a look at some muesli, so we're good.
He looked at
Oh,
some food.
gosh.
He's full, guys. We got
No,
it.
it's I don't know. These guys here around me were supposed to get out get dinner. I don't know what's happening.
Like,
Whatever.
you
it's
know,
fine.
you know how Pimp eats. He produces Dota 2 matches. That's what he does. He's a
That's
machine.
actually precisely what I do.
It just absorbs the energy from the
No, but
Dota
I
2 matches.
I don't know. It's fine. You know, you just don't. I don't mind having nothing or like not too much to eat and then eat a ton for dinner. At least lately, that's how it rolls here. Apparently in Arizona. You
so
know,
I hear
freedom.
PimpmuckL is like the magician behind most of these Dota matches. Like he's the guy that makes it all look pretty and shit.
I know. Do you watch Captain's
yeah.
Draft? By any
Yeah, I do,
chance?
actually.
If you
Yeah,
watch the
that's all
Captain's
me,
Draft,
you know. It's
amazing.
and I built like a whole studio. Like there is a mixer right here. There is a TV there. There's monitors here. There is green screens there. There is a couch there. It's gonna be fucking amazing. 2 days, and then we're working head over heels here. But it's gonna be fine, I'm sure.
I like it.
For sure. Which is a perfect segue into our first general topic for tonight. Well, I think it was. Don't make those faces at me, Lee.
I can't stop this thing, man. It just does what it does.
All right, so today's topic was technically behind the scenes in Dota, so I guess we can start with that and then just see how far this conversation devolves by the end of the night. So our question that we had was, what kind of preparation do you do before the event and at an event itself? And how do you think that compares to what other people do? And we do have everyone who does different things, so let's see.
Oh my god.
Who wants to go first? Who do we have any volunteers here?
That's hilarious.
All right. So
Okay, Pimp got it.
So first of all, it depends how long I have for an event. As in, like, do I get notified like 2 weeks before the event or whatever? Because it usually takes a bit of time because you negotiate stuff and then you have to have all the tickets and stuff. I personally do a lot of research when it comes to which team needs which lane to win the most. As in, for example, if you look at Alliance, if their mid lane wins, this propagates to a really high win rate of their overall win rate, right? So focusing on mid lane as an observer is a pretty good idea because it tells the story of the game better than just focusing on the offlane where Bulldog eventually is going to get farm anyway because that's why he does it, So this is what I do. I do like 10 hours ish, I guess, of stats prep work, and that's about it. I mean, I'm not a caster, so I don't need to do that much, but it's still a lot.
Yeah.
And you really see that. Like the best example I've seen of that in a long time was he had a catch on an Aki ward fake in a match today that was just absolutely sick. So Aki, he was playing Chen and he came out of the jungle to do he TP'd to the mid tower and he did like an early game warding rotation, and he walked up to the new Radiant jungle high ground above the secret chop that's now pathable, and he faked like he put a ward up there. He stood there for like 5 seconds, and then he walked up, and without breaking stride, he placed another ward. And the Radiant team immediately went and put a sentry down on their high ground right above the secret trap, wasted a sentry ward. So it's like it's just and Pimp was like right on that, and that's just kind of the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is that the obsing, first of all, it makes a big difference, and it takes a lot of preparation.
So do you like have like a sixth sense for knowing when people are going to do something interesting, or is it like so you have like spur of the moment type moments?
So a lot of this is just like looking at the minimap, looking at the top bar, looking at the minimap, looking at the top bar, looking at the minimap, looking at the top bar, looking at the minimap. You get the idea. And then there is sometimes things where I'm like, there's no way something happens. If you have an Abaddon offlane against a Darkseer, no one should die, right? And then there's like teams like Archon who still managed to get a kill or die. Yeah, so that's also great. And a Dota, guys. No, JK. Sure. I mean, it's mostly just good game understanding because I mean I'm really bad at the game because my mechanical skills just garbage. But I watched so much Dota that I have a pretty good idea of how lanes should go, how lanes look, how kill potential looks. So this is when I can focus on lanes. So I just like in general do it less, I guess.
Well, and it's also the thing that I enjoy and really I feel like has improved. Since we've gone to obs, dedicated obs, and not just the casters doing camera, is it's not necessarily the kill. Like everybody focuses on whether we're seeing kills and all of that. I actually think what the nicest thing about obs to me is that you get to see interesting things while the casters are just sort of making points and filling time. So there's a lot of talk in between action. And a good obs will show camp stacking timing, will show ward placement, will show teams setting up for team fights, things that the casters aren't even necessarily commenting on, or even just a caster can be making a good point, but you can be watching a team setting up for a team fight. And it's really nice. It's like you get the best of both worlds.
It's also that it's additional information. I don't know how loud these guys are in the background. Is it okay?
You're
great.
Yeah,
they're fine. Tell them to fuck off anyway.
It's more like it's more like you have the option to have more information as a viewer because you don't need to focus on that stuff, right? You can just like, let it pass by. But if you want to, you can give your own clues. It's like helping viewers to like kind of understand the game themselves a bit. If you just have like, oh look, like there's Chen having a quad stack, getting a RP creep. Of course he's gonna get level 6 out of this. Of course you're gonna have a way harder time to gain and stuff. Pretty interesting.
No, and that's I think it's a really important part of the broadcast, because one of the things that I talked to a number of the casters about is I think we need to make broadcasts like pay off on multiple levels. We need to make them enjoyable for people of all different levels of sophistication. And one of the things that you'll see all the time is people in Twitch chat and whatever complaining about, oh, this caster doesn't know anything about the game. But you're limited. Trust me. I mean, that was my big difficulty when I cast a lot of games, was you're limited in terms of the time and in terms of what most of your audience really cares about. You can't go on and on about technical minutia. And just having an OBS that's able to get the camp, to look at the camp stack timings, to look at the smoke timings and all that kind of stuff, it sort of frees the casters to talk about the overall game flow.
Also, casters can just like click around a lot. Like that's what I talked a lot to Blitz, and he's like, man, I'm so happy I'm not like a main caster, because like he just constantly like click, move camera. It just frees up the main caster to do that as well, which provides more information for the viewer, which is a bad experience, yada yada yada. So yeah, I think obs is definitely the way to go. I'm kind of sad that there's only 2 obs in Shanghai.
Beyond what goes on in game, let's look at something that happens on the like the meta game with the reporting afterwards. Like Tarmanydyn, Dennis. I'm just gonna call you Dennis because Tarmanydyn is way too many syllables. To be honest with you.
That's fine.
What do you think about it? Like looking at it from a spectator's or a journalistic standpoint. What do you think about where these observers and what you see in game? How do you think that affects what you can say in a match?
I think it affects a lot. Like, you can really only go off of what you're seeing, and unless you're kind of going back into the replays and doing your own observing, doing the pauses, like maybe even going off of player perspectives, what you see from the casters from the stream is like that's it. As far as after the game's all said and done, I rely a lot on Dota Buff, Dat Dota. The numbers say a lot. But a lot of times the stories are in what's being shown in the stream. So again, the observers are key. I actually had a conversation with WebS, I want to say 2 years ago. And we were kind of talking about or I guess he was kind of lamenting a little bit about how there are a number of casters out there that do still kind of insist on doing their own observing. Just kind of for them, it's a comfort factor. They kind of want to. It might not be the case anymore, but
it's changing.
Yeah. It's changing.
No, it's good. It's good.
You can't blame people for that at the same time. I mean, when you've got some people like Toby and LD that have been casting one way for X years, it does take some time to get used to.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, but going off of
I know PimpmuckL is not all that sympathetic to that point.
Well, no. I actually can totally understand it. Mm-hmm. Like, think about this. You've been casting for years. You always exactly talk about the stuff you see on screen. Literally 100%. Then you have an ops come in, and a couple of years ago, like everyone was way worse. The casters were worse, the players were worse, the ops were worse. Right. So of course the observers can't really show all the time what the caster talks about, because it also really takes a gigantic toll on you. If you're listening to the caster for 12 hours a day, doing ops, watching minimap, watching health bars, watching minimap, watching health, trying to understand casters, trying to like enrich the broadcast, it's gonna take a toll. But especially Weppers, he's just amazing. He just, it just clicks. He's 100% on this. I think all the obs definitely have been improving this a lot. This is why I am confident that every major LAN, minus some, outliers, whatever, that's fine, is gonna have an ops this year. Definitely. 100%.
I just think that if you're looking at the quality of the broadcasts in anything close to an objective sense, they're better, and it is an adjustment. And I sometimes complain about the opposite. Like in esports, it's almost anti-prima donna. It's almost like we're gonna do stuff this way, guys. Like Red Eye at Frankfurt, he flies in, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, you're gonna be using a teleprompter the whole time." He's like, "What?" No, you're gonna use a teleprompter.
The man is a master of improv.
Oh no, but that's the thing. You basically fly in, and it's like, we're gonna do things this way, guys. Okay.
No.
I mean, whatever.
I hate it when they do that to people because it's like you don't even allow these people to really like do what they do best.
It's a look. It's a fact. It's a fact of life, guys. I mean, I get people now. You know, crazily enough, I get students asking me about working in esports, and it's like that's the number one thing is you have to be able to think on your feet, and you have to be able to work under different conditions because it's not. We're always reaching. Like I got very, very lucky. My first couple LAN events were MLG at Columbus, where they had their own team. They're all set up. They're ready. And then ESL at Frankfurt, where they'd done an event the year before they sit or knew the landscape. Most of these events, you're going into a new place. You're working with a totally new crew, and it's just kind of stuff's got to come together.
All right. Random question for you. So you started off at MLG Columbus. That's crazy, man.
I started off at MLG Columbus because it happened to be the weekend after the last day of classes. And I had told a couple of the guys from JD, including Toby and Cap, I was like, hey, guys, Columbus is not that far away. It's the weekend after the last day of classes. I'm going to come down and I haven't seen you guys since TI. I'm going to come down and buy you guys a beer because why the hell, right? Why the hell not? And they were like, great, this is fine. They were, we all looked forward to it. And Adam App from MLG saw one of the tweets where I was like, hey, I'm going to take you guys out and buy a beer. And he's like, oh, you're going to be in town. Do you want to like be on the panel or something? I'm like, what? Okay, fine. Sure. I don't care. Like, why not? Sure. I mean, I went down, literally, I had t-shirts in my car. And I went and I replaced the t-shirts with a couple of button-down shirts and ties. That's how this happened. And I came down, and it went well. And so people were like, hey, you can do LANs now.
That's pretty dope, man.
Nice.
Random.
That's pretty great, though.
All right, I have to ask a question. Dennis, Tarmanydyn. So you're a journalist. I am a journalist as well. And one of the main things I've always wondered about, what's it like jumping into esports journalism? Because I was a let's put it out there. I in the military I was a journalist, and one of the things I did was write about all these different militaristic things that happened. And jumping into the sports sector and the esports sector in the first place, it's always scared me because it's like new territory. It's almost like the Wild West of writing because you're writing about people playing video games, which personally I am always down for because I've been playing games since I could hold a Sega Genesis controller. But so many people out there think that it's a negative or like, oh my God, these new millennials are coming in and taking our sports and disrespecting them. What do you think about that crap going on, man?
Honestly, they can think whatever they want. Like, we're gonna do our thing. Like, so whatever.
No offense to Nahaz. I'm sorry, bro.
Hey, he's one of us, man. Come on.
Dude, I have absolutely no patience for these people that are like, oh, it's not really a sport. Shut up. Like these people, these are the same people that argued that why is poker on ESPN? Poker's on ESPN because people watch it. Shut up.
See, that's precisely the answer to everything.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter if it's a sport. It doesn't matter if it's not a sport. It's just people playing the game for money. This makes it professional. That makes it a competition. End of story. Doesn't matter if it's sport. That's how it is. I don't care. I don't give a shit. I think this whole discussion about this is a sport.
Okay, I love it.
Look,
We need to do this more often. This is awesome.
Look, after I started doing this crap, my 73-year-old father has watched a couple of Dota matches. He's like, you know what? I don't know what's going on, but I hear you talking about it, and I hear people talking about it, and it's exciting. It's something that if you know games and you can get into. Like, why worry about all the other shit?
Exactly.
Yes,
Why
for
worry
sure.
about who's
I'm
watching
sorry,
what?
Dennis. I think I cut you off.
No, honestly, like,
answering because I'm alive.
Man, that's something new for a change. Huh?
no, that was
Seriously,
basically my
man.
answer. Very, very cut and dry. Just I honestly don't care. Like,
Don't care. I mean, it's respectable. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, as the age is changing, as different people are doing different things that older people don't particularly understand, they're just like, oh, this must be bad because it's different. So I guess that's where we're at right now.
And I think that's somebody in chat said, regular sports are just a game too, and I think that's actually.
Hey, Gimpy Joe, good job,
Gimpy Joe. Shout out to you. I actually I read a quote by Stan Lee a few years ago.
Fuck yeah, that guy.
many people know, right? Creator of Marvel Comics, Spider-Man, all that. And basically, heavily paraphrased, the essence of the quote is that, for many years, I looked at what I did and I said, this isn't really that important. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not whatever. And he had the epiphany one day that look, life really sucks and life is really hard for a lot of people. And providing entertainment and making people's day a little bit better, that's a noble calling. Like, what do we care about? What do we care about whether something's really a sport? If it's enjoyable to watch, if there are people out there that want to watch it,
who cares?
For sure.
Like, just enjoy what you enjoy.
I think those discussions are such a waste of time. Like 99% of the time.
One of the most
for
amazing
sure.
people I know, she is an esports person. She loves playing Dota 2, and I'm not going to say her name because I don't know if she wants me to say her name, whatever. But she said on Super Bowl
Tiffany, isn't it?
Sunday, yeah, it's
Oh,
not Tiffany.
no, it's-
Tiffany's an amazing person. I love her. Like look at that smile.
Aw.
Anyway, so she said,
Look at Pimp's face.
let people like what they like. I don't even know.
I have that thought all the time. By the way,
What's the thought? I want to know. I want to know what's up.
look at Pimp's face. I mean, whew.
What? What do you want from me? Pimp,
Honestly, you can all go fuck yourself. I'm just getting bullied for every euro. This
I
is-
love you
I
too,
stop
Pimp.
what's going in the background. I wanted to know
They just
how
fucking
long it
left.
should be.
I know, they
Big
just turned the
angry.
lights off too.
I will
saw
die
that.
because of you guys.
Hey, I'll order your pizza.
Rip.
I'll order a Pizza Hut pizza to come to your place, bro.
Alright.
Which player's pizza code will you use? Universe?
Players Pizza? Is there
Pizza
really?
GG?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not going on
Universe
anymore,
has a
right?
pizza.
Yeah,
Not
no,
going
I
on
think
anymore?
it's
I think
it's
done.
over.
Also, American pizza sucks. Just saying.
Oh, whoa, no,
Oh.
No.
What?
Hold the fuck on. I have to clarify this.
You trying to tell me Swedish
There is
pizza's
something-
better? It comes out of a fucking printer.
I'm not Swedish.
Swedish?
Are you
Wait,
trying to?
what the fuck? All right, I'm getting fucking anti.
No, look,
Yeah,
if you're
I'll
gonna
take anything.
flame, the proper thing to respond there is, and you're telling me that German anything is better? Have you
Okay,
had
German engineering is the shit. My first car was a BMW, motherfucker. It was great.
My current car is a BMW, but their food sucks.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. the food
Right,
is
you guys
horrible.
never just went sucks.
Sorry. I thought he was Swedish. I mean, look at him. I mean,
Okay, foot and mouth is happening right now.
It is so bad.
I'm messing with
McDonald's,
Pimp,
baby, I love
you're
them.
not offended at
Can
all.
I still say why fucking pizza?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
listening.
yeah, go for it.
So there is something in the sauce. It's like, I don't know if it's actually too much sugar or something.
It's
It
sugar.
just,
Yeah,
Oh,
no
that's
sugar.
Canada. Actually, it's even worse. They
Really?
it's
Like the
so
sauce is
your
sweet?
food. Are okay? You're off the rails.
Tarmanydyn, Genesis in Canada. Tell us.
Yeah, I think they put like maple syrup in it. I'm not sure, but
What?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I hope that's not a real thing, man.
No,
Seriously.
that is always
Yeah.
a joke though.
Isn't it all maple syrup and hockey, right?
Maple
Pretty
syrup.
much.
Hockey.
And
Welcome.
I'm sorry. Hey.
Oh my God, Moonduck is in the chat.
That's Pimp, but
Hey.
Oh
we
my
love you.
I
We
love
promise.
That's hilarious.
too lazy to switch accounts.
Probably just slacks, honestly, in the other room.
The only thing, okay, I'll be honest with you. I love bratwurst.
But
Hey,
bratwurst.
like, all right. Look, the
It's not the
country does sausage well. I'll give them that.
Dude,
Sausage.
you never
I'll
had a
give 'em-
Schweinshaxe. You need a
But they
Schweinshaxe.
don't do sausage that much better than Italy to get away with all the other
Italy? What?
Italian sausage.
Ah!
What?
Dude, we were supposed to be talking about Dota, and we're talking about sausages, people.
Which is on top of the German.
Sausage fest.
It's the polish
Oh my
and
God.
not Italian. Italian food is pasta and fucking pizza. Are you serious?
Okay,
food
no,
is-
I agree with the
Italian food is
Polish
not
sausage.
pasta. Oh my God, go to Tuscany.
Just go off right now. Man.
Oh my god.
You should actually say sorry right now to all the
I
Italian.
would love to take Dota on a
Italian
world
food's
where we
amazing.
just go eat food.
Right.
This hot shit.
Pasta and pizza is fucking god.
No, the best Italian food isn't even pasta or pizza.
Okay,
The best
listening. What
Italian
is it?
food is in Tuscany. The best
What is it,
Italian.
Though. That's actually
Oh
true.
my God! Like, go
I
to
lived in Portugal. I'm gonna be honest with you. The best food in the world is in Portugal. In
go
the
to
store.
a place called Bellaccio in Italy and just eat. That's all you need to do.
Bellagio?
You're done.
Sure.
All right.
Point is, Italy and sausage.
No.
No,
No, I'm
All
sorry.
right.
All right.
I'm glad you guys have
Moving
traveled.
on.
I can talk about traveling as much as I like to. I mean, I've traveled a fuck ton, so let's talk about that sometime.
I'm being lynched by
You're being
You
lynched.
are being
What?
lynched by chat.
No, chat can go fucking Twitch chat. I mean, the funny thing about Twitch chat is that you can literally be like, "Oh man, Twitch chat this one time," and anybody that has anything to do with Twitch will be like, "I know exactly what you mean," because it's not like, "Oh my god, I did something great." It's just like Twitch chat lynched my ass.
No, Mafia
Okay,
confirmed.
that's kind of funny coming from me.
I'm
But
definitely.
I mean,
Oh god. Anyways,
When are we doing that
back
again?
back to the Dota.
what?
This is my little segue motion here.
Oh my god.
Before we deviated into the wonderful world of food, I was just wondering, as esports grows, because we were sort of talking about it along with other things, but as esports grows and evolves, and I mean, we're all to some degree involved in this world, and we all know how crazy it can become. So, how do you think that esports itself has like unique challenges in the way it's, especially as it grows, or just things that you've encountered in esports that made you just look and go like, "What is going on here?"
Okay, repeat the question. How does esports what?
So, like, what are the unique challenges that comes with like working in esports, basically?
I want to take this super hard.
Okay,
Do it,
good.
Okay,
buddy.
cool, PimpmuckL, you got
Okay,
it, bro.
so one thing which I noticed, which is like by far the biggest beef I have with pretty much the whole scene, is it's very easy to get involved. It's very easy to get. Okay, let's say it's way easier than in in gigantic business or something. Like you can't just go and be CEO of General Motors, right? It kind of doesn't work right after school, right? So but in esports, you can make your own company, you can find some sponsors, you can make a tournament, and suddenly you have a whole fucking company, you have tons of stuff, you have tons of stuff to manage, and it's really easy to get involved. It's really easy to do something with a bit of investment. The investment is really small. Like you can make a whole tournament with 100 grand. That's literally nothing for like a business, a company, right? So this means that a lot of people who are like the early birds of esports kinda aren't really in there because they're good. It's just because they're fast, or because they were the first ones in it. So
Yeah.
some positions have people in them in esports which just are not qualified at all for it. And also,
Wow.
and that's the whole issue with esports being a lot of connections and a lot of like friends doing something for you. Something is when you do something in esports and you kind of prove that you can do this well. Thing A, you made it great, and now you get hired for thing B, and suddenly you're not as good anymore, but you still get hired because people look at thing A and they're like, man, this guy's amazing because esport is esport, right? It's all the same. No, it's
Well, but that's
huge.
that's part. Look, I have a bit of a different perspective on this. I mean, I am an economist by trade. I've studied
Sure.
growing industries, and part of what you're talking about is very much a hallmark of an industry that is still in its infancy. Part of it, honestly, is the people that are I don't want to. I'm not calling anybody out on this, and this is not meant to be insulting to anybody. But it's most of the people making business decisions in this industry just don't know that much about business. And what PimpmuckL is describing is happening because they don't necessarily. The industry is very young. Most of the people in it are very young, and
There's no
they don't
overhead.
necessarily have the perspective to understand that the skills that are needed for a position will oftentimes come from outside of esports. We have a very tight knit, a very closed community in a lot of respects, which in some ways is very good, but we're not necessarily bringing talent in from outside. And that as the amount of money gets bigger and bigger, you're going to need talent flowing in that doesn't necessarily that has an excellent background in journalism, but not necessarily esports journalism. That has an excellent background in broadcasting, but not necessarily esports broadcasting. That's going to have to happen at some point.
And you're running into this issue where there's a lot of people who don't want that to happen because their viewpoint is we need to keep this esports oriented, which I've definitely seen that opinion. So
Yeah, as far as the journalism side goes, like there is very much kind of a walled garden as far as some of the well-established, I guess, publications. But we already see like a lot of bigger companies kind of coming into the scene.
Yeah.
The Score is one. ESPN is obviously the big one, if not the biggest one.
No.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. If somebody types in esports journalism or something that has to do with finding information about esports, go to the Score first, because esports is like ESPN is just burgeoning into that crap. It's like Disney trying to start doing action movies.
Yo, I have a question.
Yeah, didn't Yahoo just
First of
announce
all-
they're adding an esports section
Don't even
as
start
well?
your
Yeah.
ass. Oh,
First of all, like,
Wow.
do you understand that this is the funny thing is, to me, the reaction to a lot of people, it's like the reaction to Resolution coming over to NA. It's like, you'd think people would be happy because it's like, hey, this is a talented player that's coming over to play in our scene and is gonna raise the level of play. It's gonna force other people to get better. Like ESPN coming in, that's money and resources that's flowing into the scene. Like that's
it's
good.
too little, too late.
But
They
they're like-
jumped into
they're like,
the
oh,
scene
that's-
because they
they're
saw a
not
cash cow.
Yeah.
They see a
not-
cash cow.
Good.
They jump in with,
Good.
oh my God, come
No,
on.
exactly,
Look at this.
exactly.
Okay, wait. From
Or
a
at least
journalistic
thing.
standpoint, look at who they put on the esports ESPN site. They didn't put their A team. They put the C team of people that were in the substitutes bench. Come on.
Oh my god.
And you know it's true. They didn't
And first of all,
All right.
I might be
No
right,
comment.
so shut up. Okay.
Hey, Nahaz, you know I love you. Don't start.
I'm totally. Second of all, you know what? I could honestly. I got into this exchange partly with a couple people on Twitter today, and Andre from one of the awesome Starlighter admins tweeted something about how he wishes Europe was a little deeper right now outside of CIS. That there's not much depth in the scene. That's another topic, for another day. But the point is, Jacob at some point, Milk tweets like, well, how exactly are these organizations, NIP or whatever? Because Andre tweeted at some point that he'd like to see more organizations like TSM and NIP and whatnot sponsoring Dota 2 teams that either once did or haven't jumped in yet. And Milk at some point sends this tweet. He's like, how is those teams getting involved going to make life better for players? And I just shook my head and laughed. At the end of the day, it really is about money. You bring money into the scene. You have more people getting a paycheck for doing esports stuff.
I mean, I'm all for it. I mean, that's what pays my rent. So I mean, that happens. It's amazing. But we also have to I honestly feel like we have a chance to do something special with esports, because as we know with traditional sports, football, basketball, soccer, and everything, money is king, and that's the most amazing thing. Now, if we put the power in the player's hand a little more, I wonder what could happen.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you what happens.
Okay, I'm listening, PimpmuckL.
Because it's very simple. So this is of course not 100%, but it's like a small idea. So when I talk to some players, because people know that I'm kind of techie guy, right? If some people have issues with their PCs, then they're gonna come to me and be like, "Hey, how does this shit work? How can I fix it?" And that's very simple. Now the problem is that players, or a lot of players actually, can't even use a PC properly. They can't.
What?
They can't switch Windows settings, so there is no update when they play the game. They don't know how anything works with regards to just even setting the refresh rate on the monitor.
Popcorn.
So that's just showing that players want to do one thing and one thing only. They want to play the game. They want to play the game, compete, and be the best. That's it. They don't give a shit about their peripherals. They don't give a shit about this. As long as the mouse feels great, that's fine.
Great.
That's it. And this
that's like Ash Ketchum
precisely
being
why,
I want to be the very best that no one ever
yeah,
was.
that's totally fine.
I don't
but this
have
is why
Pokeballs.
a group of 5 people will never go and get some of these people to sell sponsorships for them to make sure that everyone gets paid, because it's a fuck ton of work, and it's also not really rewarding in a way that someone has to do it, right?
But
so you need someone to do that. That's a manager.
Exactly.
That's an agent.
Exactly.
That's not necessarily an organization.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean by more people getting that paycheck, man. You've got to. You look at the teams that are successful, and I think still, which is a damn joke, people underestimate what Charlie and Phil do for EG. People underestimate what Evany does for OG. People underestimate what Conrad did for C9, and the list goes on. There is way more shit to being a successful team than the players have room to take care of in their schedules and still be good at Dota.
I agree. I mean, I was living with a Sajdi in the last 2 weeks, right? And she literally works 12 hours a day on team shit. schedule scrims to make sure that everything is fine, all the schedules for other stuff, interfacing between pretty much everyone, making sure that this stuff gets sent to this guy because sponsors and this stuff happens. So it's crazy. Yeah, I agree. We need. But I'm not sure if it's the organization who we need. I think it's just teams, manager, agent, and then maybe some sort of like agency set up where people can be like, hey, we have team this.
But,
we are this
but
good.
Somebody's got to sign the paychecks and funding. With the problem, I agree with the spirit of what you just said, but at the end of the day, somebody's got to be signing that regular paycheck. Like saying we're going to pay you out of our tournament winnings is not. It's just not sustainable in many cases. It really isn't.
No, but you can. No, sure, but this is where you go to an agent and be like, hey, look, we have this much of exposure. We plan these many.
Okay,
tournaments.
and exactly what talent agencies are there out there right now?
There's got to be some. I think
there is
good game.
there is
game agency. GGA.
There's
GGA.
no infrastructure in the scene.
That's true.
There's
the infrastructure.
God. Do you want to go there?
No, I don't want to go there.
Okay.
Nobody wants to go there, but it is there.
It's suffocating horribly. But there is, the market is evolving. This is why Greg made a fucking company.
Yes.
Greg is not dumb. Like, of course it's gonna work. It just takes some time. It's got to develop stuff. This is the way to go. I don't think the way to go with the organizations is necessarily the biggest thing in esports, because that's the beauty of esports. You have this volatility, which can be a beautiful thing.
Everybody, no. Charlie, even really, this is why I'm confused. Even really smart people I know are really bright in esports, have this mentality that, the optimal esports organizational structure has not necessarily even been invented yet. And we still have people that are anti-organization. Like, there's nothing that says that you got to do this by anybody else's book. The only thing that I'm saying is that you got to be open to money coming in.
So I'll tell you why. It's very, very obvious that currently most of the organizations, not all of them, take advantage of players.
Of course they do.
And the problem is it works, and it can't work because the players would get paid way more if they actually wouldn't have these scalpers take money away.
That counterfactual. First, that counterfactual is not. There's not the data to make that work. Like, you don't know if the players would be getting played at all. Most of them still aren't. Well, I mean, maybe
look at OG.
Maybe you guys, maybe you and Charlie and whoever else are more plugged in than I am, but I still look at this environment where so many people that I talk to are so worried about organizations exploiting players, and most of the players still aren't getting paid.
But that's not true. Look, I'm just saying, no. Okay, so the thing is, I think
how many teams? This is this discussion that we just got in about EU today. How many teams are actually getting paid?
Okay, sure.
I mean, what?
But
how many teams are actually getting paid?
No, look.
That's on salary. The number of people that are getting paid on salary in the Dota community is very low.
The number of players that are actually drawing salary is minuscule.
Minuscule. The thing that so
I'm
going to jump in on this because this is something I've had. Okay, PimpmuckL.
Yeah.
Actually,
I know. I'm just saying, like, it's the whole idea of the salary isn't necessarily what is like the best model. Because if you sell a sponsorship, like, look at OG. OG is a team, 5 players. They get a sponsorship, they get a hitbox, and they're gonna pay for their shit. And for sure they're gonna have like a monthly thing. But this whole contract has a whole budget. It's like a gigantic volume, and the players make sure that this volume makes up for this much travel, this boot camp, whatever. Like, they just take stuff out of it. So you don't need the salary, as in you much rather need the whole contract thing being okay. And if you have enough sponsors, then you're fine. I don't think the salary is the biggest.
That's not going to work for most. I'm talking about creating stable income for young people. Like, that what OG has is very special, and that in many ways was a dream team, and they've made this work. I don't necessarily think that model is sustainable for the majority of teams. I'm talking about, I am worried. I think right now the biggest drawback of the major system is that if you're not a tier 1 team, what are you?
That's very true.
Because what I see, I'm a very big proponent of the major system. I think it's a necessary step forward for the scene. But as an economist, my biggest worry about the scene right now is that the income gap and the welfare gap between tier 1 teams and everybody else is getting bigger. And that's the number one issue that I think we need to address.
Okay, but it's not something where organizations can necessarily help, because they're going to pay a salary of like $500. Great start.
No.
What did that do?
Wait,
No, we're talking about salaries in the range, realistically, and you know this, we're talking about salaries in the range of $3,000 a month, which, look, obviously is not a huge number, but it's a stable income for kids that are later in high school and in college and just beyond.
Yeah, but who
And
pays
then we build from there.
Sure, but who pays the players this much when they, like, I don't know. I think I'm misunderstanding.
So wait, let me see. What you're saying is to help promote the growth of Dota and the number of teams there, we need to have some kind of stability for those teams that are not tier 1.
I want more sponsored teams. I want more teams with jackets and with stickers on those jackets drawing regular salaries. That's what I want for the Dota scene right now. And people are very worried about selling out. People are very worried about these evil organizations that are exploiting players. I'm saying I want more opportunities for young people that want to play Dota professionally to have paychecks signed and regularly showing up in their mailboxes.
Okay, so essentially you want to have like some sort of insurance, as in a buffer of some sort. I'm just trying to get a whole idea.
I want a kid that wants to go play Dota professionally and isn't on a tier 1 team to be able to move out of his parents' house.
Agreed.
Like
sure.
Honestly, that's what we're talking
I don't
about
see
here.
the whole conflict.
The conflict is that people worry a lot about what model we need, and we don't want organizations exploiting players. And I mean, OG had a very rocky road to their whole setup, right? They're a very special case. And there are a lot of teams right now and a lot of people right now who I think look at OG and say that's the way forward. That's what everybody should do. And I have great respect for, like, I know those guys. I have great respect for what they've done, and I think they're going to be highly successful. And I hope eventually that more teams have the opportunity to do that. But that's not the reality of where we are right now economically, in my opinion. Where we are right now economically is the gap between tier 1 and tier 2 teams is growing, and we need more players to have the opportunity to draw a regular paycheck.
I just don't agree, but that's okay, because so I think the bottom line is still that not really. Whatever comes in a year or two, there's going to be more money in esports, because I mean, we get so many more sponsors. We get so many more mainstream sponsors with a ton of money. Look at Turner's E-League, right, in Counter-Strike. That's televised on CBS or whatever. And it's going to like trickle down as well. And I don't think that the whole system of the majors, in especially Dota, is going to help this too much to actually spread the growth. But just the general sponsor interest is going to be so huge that I don't think it's going to be this big of an issue. I just have a personal problem with having orgs taking a gigantic cut when players could be hiring some sort of agent, which currently is not existing in the way it should be, as in like traditional sports could. Or like, let's say, best example would be something like tennis, where you have a single person, of course, getting sponsored by something, and then you hire an agent for this person. But whatever, it's fine. Let's move on.
Dennis, do you have an opinion? You've been kind of quiet.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Listening to these two go.
I actually have a question for Pimp. Is it more in that you believe that the players, or at least the way that the, I guess, pay is kind of being distributed, is that it should just go to the winners or to the top performers?
No, not at all. It's more like, actually, the money coming from competition is secondary for me personally, because I think the whole competition and the major system in general, like Alan and I definitely agree, is favoring the top teams, right? So what you want to make sure is that the money coming to the teams isn't really from the prize pool, but I'm only talking about the sponsor side, because that's where the organizations do something, or like do a lot, because they are providing the players with steady income in return for the exposure, which then gets sold to sponsors, right? Mm-hmm. And I want to, and for me, like, the important part is cutting out the organization middleman. That's pretty much what I'm saying, and I think the drawbacks outweigh the other ones, but it doesn't really matter. The thing is that I think the more sponsors just come into esports, it should be easy to connect those to the players directly. I'm actually sorry, I'm ranting completely off that.
No, but
You're good, dude. It's respectable to rant a bit on the campfire.
No, I literally don't even remember the question because I'm so.
But it kind of brings up another thing. Do you believe that the players from an individual level should have agents?
That's actually a really good question. That's I had a really long talk with Shannon about this because in some cases I think it's definitely true. If I don't know if you guys follow Counter-Strike, there is Simple, a gigantic legend, Ukrainian superstar who just went over to NA to play in Team Liquid, kind of similar to the whole Resolution story. And then Simple had issues playing with a Logitech mouse or something, or like some of the sponsors of Team Liquid. Now the question comes: why is a peripheral sponsor not a personal sponsorship, right? Because in soccer you have it all the time. Some people have Nike shoes, some people have Adidas shoes, some people make commercials for Adidas and then wear them on the field, stuff like this. Why isn't this a thing in esports? Because the organizations do sponsors. End of story. That's what they want.
Okay.
There is actually one company that kind of does. It's Red Bull. I mean,
correct. But Red Bull
Mercenary
doesn't
Dota.
compete against other sponsors mostly, and then if they do, CEG then gonna sponsor them.
So okay, I see what you're saying. So what you're saying is that the sponsorships should go directly to the players versus going to the teams or the organizations that control the teams. I see. Okay. So yeah, that makes sense.
And the issue is that the infrastructure is currently not in place. Like Alan pointed out, this is why Alan prefers the whole organization model, or like making sure that everyone gets paid in a reasonable way every month. So yeah.
I just think I've seen, and again, you do give up. I'm not denigrating or belittling JJ's point. You do give up some control, and you do have to be very careful about the organizations that are coming in, the players, not in game players, but the actors on the scene that are coming in. You have to be very careful because a lot of people don't have the young people's best interests at heart, and I get that. Okay, but I get people jobs in finance for a living, and I can tell you the first objective is you get something that you can put on a resume. You draw a paycheck for doing what you love to do, and there are really good things that come with that. Being able to be paid. I want to see more. I'm just having this conversation with Grant in chat, and I'm very passionate about this. These guys like people look at like Pandago as a good example, as like he's a pretty good Dota player, hasn't really broken through on a tier 1. Like he is a really smart guy. Okay? He could be doing a lot of things with his life and with his time. I am someone that is very lucky. I get paid for doing something that I love to do every day. And there really is no better feeling. Like I want to see these talented young people that we have in the scene get paid to do what they love to do.
So would you say that we should have a different system than is in place? I mean,
yes, in the sense that we need some level of infrastructure. And right now it's just sort of everybody.
Sorry, finish, and then I have a question.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so this form of infrastructure, how do you like the major-minor system in Counter-Strike, as in you have regional minor qualifiers, which are like big tournaments where major invite teams can't participate at all.
I like it a lot. I question whether that's in the feasible set, because at this time last year, I was not at all convinced that Valve would even be willing to step in to the extent that they have to create the majors.
Okay.
Like I regarded it as a minor miracle when Valve came in to that extent.
Do you think
I have to
it's
step in and ask a couple questions.
All right, go
because
for it.
we marketed ourselves, because one of the main things that I've noticed and Tiffany has noticed in this world and like in the industry that we're all associated with is the fact that there's so many young people wanting to come into this esports world in some way, shape, or form, either as a player, as an observer, as a yes, a thing, or
some guy like Ella. That's
Stats man.
Dude,
Stats person.
4 glasses of wine. Don't start.
Just say stats
Anyway,
person. We'll go with that.
But the beautiful thing is that we have 3 amazing individuals, and you are all very opinionated. I would love to sit down and we could have a total hour and a half associated to just your opinions and what needs to happen in the industry. But we don't have that time right now. What we have you here right now is for finding out what it's like behind the scenes, what a day-to-day life is like in your position as a stats person, journalist, observer, tech, amazing person like PimpmuckL, who's from Germany, and I have no idea why he's not Swedish, but we'll figure it out eventually. So, I honestly, Tarmanydyn, Mr. Dennis Gonzalez.
Oh, thank you, Charlie.
What do you think, Charlie?
Charlie is my fucking
God,
hero.
I love you, Charlie. Right?
Oh,
What did he say? I don't see what he was talking about.
Uh,
He didn't say
yeah,
something.
just
No.
no,
had
just
good-
moving on.
we're moving on.
Moving on. All right. Anyway, Dennis Gonzalez, what do you think it's like being a journalist? And what would you say to somebody that tells their parents, I'm leaving home, I'm going to be an esports journalist? What would you say to them?
Well, I didn't say specifically esports journalism to my mom, but I did say like every day, hey, I'm gonna do something in video games, and she has to eat crow for kind of the rest of her life now that I'm in sports, so that's a good thing. As far as advice to I guess other people, and it's funny you mentioned that. I do actually just get DMs because I have my DMs open on Twitter, so I do get people being like, hey, can I ask you a few questions about the score if you don't mind? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. Honestly, just do it. Honestly, like the way that I got into the score um, was I had a blog for Dota and I was in journalism school already, and the fact that I was in journalism school was kind of happenstance. Like I never went into writing about esports as a goal to start working in the industry. It was just something that I wanted to do, so I did it. But now that we've come to a point where you can actually have a job in esports, not necessarily just writing for scrap, writing just articles every so often. It is actually very much a goal to work in the industry and get paid for it, and not just writing, not just playing, but in other aspects as well. So it's great. Just do it.
I have to disagree on the just do it
Oh,
mentality.
shit.
No,
No, hold on.
opinions
have
are
to-
okay.
Oh, look at
They're
this.
all
It's like
dead.
1 plus 1 equals 2, and
I'm
PimpmuckL's
instantly
like,
getting played. What is this Euro hate in here? What the fuck? All right,
What?
let me give you an example. I got messaged how to do producing and obsing, and it was a pretty lengthy one because the guy was in like video production school or something. So he was already doing something for school, which is pretty much what I'm doing right now. And he was asking like, okay, so how do you be an obs for live events? Like, is it very different from doing stuff at home? And then I would not tell him to just do it, because if you're really damn good as ops, you still can't really get noticed because the observer position itself is not on camera, and it's also not something you're very vocal of, where it's really easy to see what you do or what qualities you bring to the table. It's a very slow process. It means a lot of work, and it also means a lot of connection. So if you're coming new to the scene, there's already between 3 and 5 top tier observers already in there. It's really hard because there's maximum TI, or like the Frankfurt Major had 3 observers as only tournament. Every other tournament, like the majors or TI, had 2, and then every other tournament has 1, like Starletter, and even then there's going to be tournaments without an ops. Hopefully none this year, but there was plenty of tournaments without ops. So the scene is, in this regard, super saturated. Making a splash is going to be really hard because you can't really pull an OD pixel. You can't be on Reddit every day. You can't be noticed by Too Good. And you know, where is the space? For a journalist, you can write an amazing article. People are going to refer to it. If you have good analysis, that is amazing. People are going to share your stuff if it's really, really good. If you're a caster, damn, go for it, right? But like, don't quit your day job until something big happens, until you can really feel confident in your abilities. You know, doing production is also a huge issue because you always have to do observing as well, because Valve fucked up their camera feature. You know,
I mean, he's
it's
talking
super
from
hard.
experience.
Well-
Listen to him.
No,
essentially-
honestly, I'm not shitting you. Mod does not see whatever the fuck I'm looking at. He doesn't,
Oh,
and we
gosh.
still kind of work it out because we just fucking casted like 300 games together in our lives. Or like at least in Captain's Draft, we did like every game. We did Dota Fit, we did Canada, we just harmonized together, right? But this takes so much time, and as an amateur, you're not gonna get that time, and people are not gonna pay you jack shit because no one is gonna pay. I mean, most amateur casters aren't getting paid, and if the amateur
Yeah.
casters aren't getting paid, the observers definitely don't get paid because that's just gonna happen, guys. And then
Yeah.
I mean, that's the glorious. I mean, I wouldn't say glorious. That's the one thing about esports is it's very easy to get into it, but you're gonna have to put a lot of damn work in to get anywhere. So
and you have to take every little opportunity you can get. It's super crucial. If you get an opportunity, you have to be there. You have to nail it and 100% right on the spot. If you don't, it's never.
I don't want to take any
exactly
fire from the. Oh, I don't want to take any fire from Nahaz because the guy he spits fire like a rapper. But the thing is on the bottom line, if somebody wants to be a stats person, because I'm not gonna try to butcher that word because it's a real word, but if somebody wanted to be a stats person and they didn't contact Phage, how would they do it? And do you think that they do it effectively? Would you trust them if they didn't even go through Phage?
In my case,
Or through
Phage
standard.
actually came to me.
I'm asking.
Well, we're
like
gonna say standard deviants in general because
they avoided
the whole
standard
group itself.
deviants.
There
They
we
got
go.
into the statistics without going through standard deviants. What do you think about that person?
I don't. First of all, there are obviously plenty of stats people. Stats people are gaining a lot of traction in the Russian scene. There are a number of them now. There are plenty of stats people out there that don't necessarily work through our organization. We're still primarily English speaking cast, but it's not. I don't necessarily think that that Dota 2 stats is rocket science. I don't think it's. I mean, Cart can do it, right?
Oh my god!
So
I wasn't gonna flame anyone. Really, it's gotta be him.
But
Yeah,
no,
that is true.
The biggest thing is to understand that I mean, we've repeated this. It's what PimpmuckL said. Really, that as a stats person, you're a support player. It's not something that you should be getting into for recognition. It should be something that you're getting into because you love the game and you follow it anyway, and you want to help entertain other people who love the game like you do. I'm not in. I don't. In spite of the fact that you're seeing Motpax get some opportunities to cast, which I think he's very, very good. I hope to see Lurka get some more opportunities to be on the mic. I think she's very good. But the point is, I don't think you should get into stats viewing it as a portal to get into the scene. I think you get into stats because that's something that you love to do, and other opportunities might come your way. But the problem that I have is that a lot of people that talk to me about doing stats, that talk to me about doing other things, they want to be Toby, and they look at it as, how can I sort of get my foot in the door and get involved in the scene so that one day I can be Toby? And that's just not the right mentality to have.
I mean, you just have to like pictures of cosplay girls, right?
Oh, speaking of which,
hello. Excuse
RoyalAmes,
me.
air high five, RoyalAmes.
Seriously, yeah.
Got
I'm
him.
loving this.
Love you, Toby.
All right, great. Okay, so before
I love cosplay chicks. I'll be honest with you, man.
Dude, of course.
Yeah, but don't
I
tweet
actually
about it every
am-
day.
Okay,
I actually
yeah.
am
You're like
fascinated with
company's account.
cosplay, but not for like the female display part. Just because I think cosplay is awesome. Like I don't know.
So here's
I,
the
like-
thing. Yeah, I was told by a little birdie named Phage that you really like cosplay, and I was wondering.
Don't call Phage
what you-
out, man. We have
I
to
called
keep
Phage out.
secret.
I kind of want to hear your thoughts about it because I cosplay as well. So
Me?
He does a lot of cosplay.
yeah, you Nahaz.
Follow on Twitter. Everybody follow RoyalAmes at Twitter.
I think that it's really like seeing people's artistic interpretation of an in-game character is really cool. Like oh god, what is Rehab G Naked, is that how you say it? And Rageful Thinking, like
Just
who
say,
did
just
the
say Anka.
I have no idea, but
No, she's
and Kitty and Talina, that the Elder Titan, the Juggernaut did Elder Titan Juggernaut, and then Kitty Pryde and Talina did Techies at Frankfurt, and they just had these great interpretations of these characters. They just sort of like, you saw something about that character that you don't necessarily see in the game or in any of the cosmetics, and I just think it's a neat. Like I'm not a very creative person. I have like two things that I do. Like I do math and I talk good. That's
You should open a school for kids who can't read good.
Like my dad Okay, my 73-year-old father, he can cook a gourmet meal, he can build a house, he can restore a 50-year-old car, and sing a concert while he's doing it. Like, he can do everything. I am dumb. I can do nothing. I do like two things well. And so I'm really fascinated by alternative forms of art. And I really do think cosplay, there's real art to it. It's just neat.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
It
for
is cool.
sure.
I mean, okay, so as a person that's wanted to get into cosplay for a long time, I feel like I have an utmost respect for the people that happen to make things. That's why I've probably become friends with Tiffany, and probably because like everyone around me just does so much cool shit, and then I'm just like, I talk good and make things.
Wait, how can you be friends? No. How can you be friends with someone who cosplayed as Sniper?
I know, but she cut. Okay, at least she didn't
It doesn't
like giggle
work.
ho ho ha ha for 30 hours straight. I mean, I saw her afterwards when she wasn't in the sniper, and I looked at her and I was waiting for her to say something sniper-ish, but it seemed like the virus has left her body. So we'll see what happens
It
afterwards.
was so funny. Okay, this side story really quick. I
Cool.
kept getting approached by people at PAX where I wore Sniper, and they were like, "So what do you think of Sniper?" I was like, "I hate Sniper. I don't know what I'm doing with this cosplay on," and they all laughed. But anyways, yeah. So it's really interesting. And one thing I'm gonna comment really quick about cosplayers, it kind of has the same idea as we were talking about esports, where anyone can get into it. Like anyone can decide that they want to cosplay and do it, but it does take a lot of work and a lot of time. So. All right, so we are slowly running
No,
out of
let's keep
time.
going. I don't. Okay, so
Oh,
I
no,
wanted to
no.
actually ask you. I had a thing. Like,
All
I
right,
had a
okay.
thing, an amazing thing.
He's
I
got a
wanted to
thing.
ask everyone about how they got into the position they got into, or the first
Oh
game
my
they got into.
God.
Dennis, I'm not
I-
entirely. Dennis, I'm not entirely sure if you began with Dota 2, but let us know about the first game that you got exceptionally into. Be it Dota 2, Team Fortress 2. What was the first game that really piqued your interest and took your time away? Really.
So I will say Counter-Strike. I actually started playing in beta 7, I want to say. So like obviously pre 1.6, like before it was even, I guess, finalized. And like I dropped out of high school, I dropped out of college playing that game just in Cali, and like yeah, it ruined and made my life, but that's how I rolled, I guess. I don't know. I actually didn't even follow the esports scene at that time. I just was a competitor. Like, I wasn't even that good, honestly.
So how did you get into Dota then?
That is kind of a well.
Here
I'll,
we
I'll
go.
give you the abridged story. So I got into esports following StarCraft 2 actually is following EG. Idra. He was the bad boy. I hated him as much as I loved him. Sorry, one sec. my mom has handed me a milkshake. I'm telling her to go away, please. Thank
No,
you very
take the
much.
milkshake. You never say no to the milkshake.
It's a
What the fuck is
milkshake! Are
wrong
you
with
kidding?
Take the milk.
Mom, you want to be on the
Hey,
internet?
slap him for
Here,
me,
give me
because
some.
he said no to a milkshake.
Give me the milkshake.
When someone asks you,
Someone
"Do
American.
you
Give me the
want a
milkshake.
milkshake?"
Give me
You
the
say
milkshake.
yes.
Give it. You're not going to be
Sound
on
like
camera.
Bernie Sanders. I like it.
Here, give me. You're not on camera. Jeez.
Not on camera. Everyone, intermission while he gets his milkshake.
This is delicious.
The fuck's happening?
Hey, Pimp, how hungry are you, bruh?
A lot.
Sorry.
All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Anyways, so sorry. I was watching StarCraft 2, followed EG's Idra, followed all that drama, and basically I kind of stopped watching when Slayers disbanded. There's the monster energy. And then I actually started watching Han. I was a huge fanboy of Fnatic, No Tail, Fly. I was big fans of them way back
Fresh
when.
Bro. Yes,
Trixie.
please.
What's that?
Fresh Bro.
Fresh Pro, yeah. Just No Tail mid with Bombardier, all that shit. And then I was watching DreamHack Winter 2012. I believe the Han tournament was happening at the same time as Dota tournament, and there was a little intermission. And I think it was an intermission for the Dota 2 Grand Finals, and that's where EG and Alliance, or when they were known back then, No Tidehunter. And then I saw the vacuum Sven crit quadra kill from Fear. And from that point on, I was instantly in Dota and an EG fanboy from that point onward.
Nice.
That was the EG with Malic, by the way. The fact that they won anything is actually great.
Yeah, dear God.
Oh,
I remember
gosh.
that era. That was Sad Boys. That was the real Sad Boys era.
All right,
Yeah.
so want to know, Nahaz, what got you into Dota? What is your Dota origin story?
Well, I'm not gonna. I won't bore you with the long.
No,
version.
bore us,
There-
man. I
No,
need to
no, no.
sleep.
There are
All right,
videos and
guys,
shit
come
out
on,
there that
please,
you can
have
watch.
mercy.
The TLDR is exactly. JJ's like, please no.
No,
The
it's fine.
TLDR is I have a brother-in-law that is 17 years younger than I am, or I'm sorry, 14 years younger than I am, 17 years younger than my wife. I was like looking for a way to be able to talk to this kid. He's a great guy, but I was looking for a way to talk to him when I was first meeting the family, and I had just seen the first TI, and I just seen Toby Cass, and I was like, this is amazing. And I happened to mention it to him, and he's like, oh, I played Warcraft 3 Dota. So we got our beta keys together, and he taught me the game. And he plays League now.
Oh, you
I
can't
just
save all of them.
vomited in my
You
mouth.
can't save all of them.
But no, he's like he went off to college, and all the he's like, everybody in my dorm plays League. What am I supposed to do? I'm like, I don't care.
I mean, shout out to League of Legends providing Reddit drama on a weekly basis.
There you go.
Jesus Christ, yeah.
All right.
All right,
PimpmuckL, I'm
PimpmuckL.
actually genuinely curious about yours, man.
You're genuinely curious? Okay, so I don't know how much some of you guys know about me, but I get genuinely really, really, really annoyed by a lot of things. So
Me too.
one day
Hey.
after TI3, no, actually after TI2, I was watching some stream. And because of like Euro time zones, I got up at like 10 a.m. And I started just watching some Dota streams after like coming back from university or like before going and stuff. There was this Aussie chick, and she had the worst stream in the history of Dota. It was literally 320p. It was super laggy. It disconnected sometimes. It was so bad. So I messaged her on Reddit. I was like, dude, you need to get that shit fixed. If you want someone, I can help you. So she was like, I don't know, no, not really. So 8 months later, she's apparently blue screening now because I didn't watch too much stuff after that because I was really busy in school. And she's like, hey, does that offer stand actually, just in case? And I was doing pretty okay. So after exams, I was like, all right, let's try it for a couple games, right? Just So I was actually doing camera and production, like super basic, no extra shit, no replays or something, whatever. Just like draft overlay, in-game overlay, pause screen, done, end of story. And it kind of worked, I didn't really show what she talked about too much, but it kind of was okay. And then I tried, because like in intermissions I would of course play music, and people were like, hey, can you put the music on screen? So I made like an overlay with the music, and I made an overlay with a lobby because it's CEA Dota, and everyone was always late, always, and wouldn't load. And there was a new patch in the best of 3. Boom, 20 minutes later, everyone still didn't have the patch. So I made this, and then like I made pretty much like a whole pause overlay and stuff. So people liked it. And then one day she actually blue screened when there was a mid visage, and I was like, well, she just blue screened. I guess I unmute myself or something. I don't know. Just commentate that stuff. And my English is still terrible, right? I mean, you can hear it, but it was
Shut
apparently
the-
enough to be like, shut up, Alan.
Your English
it was
is
enough. Shut the fuck up, Alan. I'm talking, and I'm actually telling the story right now. So Visage Gangs, I unmuted myself, I commentated, people were like super happy, and were like, man, this is amazing, just go co-cast. So I went co-casting with her, and we got, it just worked. And then eventually I was casting Join Dota Community. It was Join Dota League was initially made with like tier 2 teams. Now it's like mostly tier 3.
I,
But it
for
was
the
like
record,
Rockskiz.
actually thought PimpmuckL was a very good caster. But
Oh my God! Don't do that.
I,
All right, that's actually so untrue. Dude,
you are so fucking critical.
no,
You're unbelievable.
Shut up. Okay, so
He's a perfectionist.
I was casting on Join Dota Community, which was one of the best channels ever. There was like Drag and Drop, there was CD Umbrella, who's now hired by Sivo doing Counter Strike. There was like tons of casters who now kind of quote unquote made it or like are deep in the scene, casting Join Dota League, casting some of the smaller stuff Join Dota had, and that was amazing. Like sometimes Cap would cast a game, I would hop on and cast with Cap. Eventually BTS messaged me, so I was casting with those guys, and then I got into school more because I had exams, and Greg messaged me eventually about doing production for Dota Pit, and they just wanted to have like an ops and doing production stuff because like ops was hot shit back then. And then I came up with all that shit, which I provided like highlights and replays, and like I was coding my own framework to make that stuff happen, and everyone fucking loved it, right? And I got tons of Reddit love. It was pretty amazing. And then eventually at last TI, which Aces sent me to, I got in touch with Shannon, who I didn't know jack shit, and he was like, "Hey, actually, you want to produce stuff, just in case?" I was like, "Oh, well, I guess, yeah." So we're making a studio with like Cinnamon shit. I was like, all right, well, guess I joined those guys. Yep. So that's my story. Sorry, it was
Nice.
We are very lucky. Like I actually thought Pimp was a fine caster. I thought he could have kept doing that and been fine, but we're lucky that to succeed as an industry, ultimately you have to have people that get into these positions and that do what nobody else can. And the stuff that he's done on production has pushed us forward in a way that nobody else is doing this. Like, still, you watch Captain's Draft right now, and it's just a different event. Like little things like showing match replays in between matches, having the casters talk in between matches, the cut to replay during matches. It's very smooth to the point that you watch it and you sometimes you don't even notice it's there. It just feels like a part of the cast.
Yeah.
And like, why is not you ask, you're like, it's more, you notice other streams when it's not there.
Yeah.
It's also
which I think is really telling.
It's also is one thing which I was so okay. So I'm gonna go on right here. Sorry, this is gonna take a while. So
I'm good.
I did this opting stuff, and then I could never ever opt for BTS or JD because you can't use the camera feature in Dota. You can't use it. End of story. So I got some offers, but it was never really that great. I guess like I couldn't quit school for it pretty much because school is way too important. And so I was like, well, that stuff doesn't work. Like, why does no one hire me? Like, I can provide so much stuff, but the stuff doesn't work. And then I was pushing super hard that my production has stuff in it which I can sell to sponsors, and that's not really selling out. It's more like trying to get hired because I want to do a TI eventually, right? And look, I just wanna get hired for shit.
Two things.
And that's where you see highlights, where you see instant replay branding, where you see transitions with freaking sponsor logos in it. I don't give a shit. If I need to sell out to get to a TI and make sure that there is tournaments being casted,
can we not
enjoy?
Can we this sellout shit? All right, in my experience, and again, old man, right? In my experience, about 95% of the people that complain about selling out do so because they're jealous nobody's buying what they're selling.
Oh my God! You are saying exactly what people need to say.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Seriously, it's bullshit. 99% of the time, if you listen to what people say, they're like, "Oh, so and so's selling out." They're like, what they're really saying is, "I'm bitter because I'm not succeeding and they are." Fuck that, okay? And the other thing is, I actually, it's funny because I had 3 conversations today in 3 completely different walks of life. One with a graduate student, one with a junior professor, and one with somebody that's trying to make it on the Dota 2 scene right now. That basically the gist of the conversation was, you know what? You find something that you are excellent at and that you like to do, and you do it, and you be the best that you can about doing that. And yes, there's a lot of other shit to worry about. Will I make it? What can I do? What can I sell? But you go and you do that thing, and you do it really well, because at the end of the day, that's how you win.
Exactly. Hey.
Yeah. And so
at the end of the day, we've done everything we had planned to do initially. We got you guys to talk. We got you guys to like initiate conversations. This is hands down the best show I've ever played. Oh my God!
Yeah. So we are in fact out of time. But if you guys have anything that you want to say, really, really quickly, how about it?
It doesn't even matter. It's Twitch. Who cares? Talk as long as you want to.
No?
Tune into Captain's Draft 3.0 in 2 days. Thanks.
Woo!
Watch Stats Don't Lie. New YouTube videos. There you go.
Are you really gonna start YouTube videos?
He's already started.
Dude,
oh my God!
Have you not seen these? Come on.
I've been sleeping on it. Dude, I am busy as fuck.
I around the turn of the year, I started making YouTube videos, which is something I decided that I needed some more ways to contribute. I'm still really apprehensive about streaming. That's something people have asked me about. I'm really apprehensive about that. I'm not going to do that and just be another person. I told myself I'm not going to do stuff that's just going to be another thing. I'm going to do something that I think I can do really well. And I'm very happy with the YouTube videos I've made so far. I may find a way to stream at some point, but I'm not going to do it until I have something that's like a concept where I can do something really well and have it be different. I'm not going to be just like some other rant. You know this. You've seen this guy on camera at a LAN, so you should watch him play Dota. No, fuck that.
At least you're honest, man.
Yeah. All right. Do you have any shout outs you want to give, Dennis?
Ming Lee. No, I don't know.
I feel so sorry for you, by the way. Like having a call with us. Oh God, yelling at me like when we
I
were
was-
at events, yelling at me like talk for like 3 hours straight.
We do.
It's so
We do.
bad.
We yell. We get drunk and yell at each other, and it's great.
It's so fun. It's
amazing.
so fun.
Only
It's
thing-
so much fun.
The only thing I'm
Invite
sad
one of
about
us.
is
We'll
that...
put it on Fountain Camping, and we'll start this shit as a web series.
No,
I'm
the only-
gonna be honest with you. I've drank a whole bottle of red wine in the time, so I'm trying not to be an asshole. But
I'm
that's
sure you're fine.
All right. Okay. Let's let Dennis talk. There you go.
No. The only thing I'm sad about is that I wasn't with you guys in person to do all the drinking and shit. Like I barely get to go to this shit, so.
Hey man, we'll invite
Next
you
time.
sometime. You will have to be back on the show. You were definitely one of the best people we've ever had. Dennis, thank you for being on the show. Journalism is one of my passions, and I'm so happy.
Look
that
at Pimp's
someone
face.
else-
Pimp is.
God damn it.
Thank you everyone
Nothing,
for
you're
being
like-
on the show. Really, you guys were all awesome.
We can just delete Pimp Muckle.
Oh my God.
I'm getting unfollowed right now.
All right. So is this the cue to wrap things up? Because I think that was. All right. So we have an awesome announcement, which is we actually know who the guests for the campfire are going to be next week. We're gonna have a special Woman in Dota topic next week. I will be hosting along with Lurkaderp, who is chilling out in chat. We will have Ashley Kreis, Llama Down Under, and Vittles on next week. So be sure to tune in for that. That will be a fun conversation for sure, or maybe not so fun. We'll find out.
Us
But
guys
yes.
can do something fun at the same time. We can go.
Like it.
Oh my
Drink
God,
wine,
so many
guys.
bad
Let's
jokes
go.
pop
Dude,
here.
We're
Oh
feeding.
my God.
Oh,
Let's
gosh.
just go. I'm not saying shit. Cool.
All right. Well, yes. Thanks everyone for tuning in to the show. Thanks so much for Dennis, Nahaz, and PimpmuckL joining us for this week. And be sure to come back next week, same time, 8 p.m. for a Woman in Dota's episode. All right.